Okay, Honors Geometry students, today we are going to discuss part 7 of your Honors Geometry packet, which is slope. First, you have to recall, what is slope? Slope, whenever we're discussing slope, we're discussing a line. We're discussing how steep the line is, and the common phrase we discuss is rise over run. The rise represents your vertical, or your up and down measurement, and your run represents your horizontal. So if I'm measuring the slope of this line, I am going to first find 2 points in which the line crosses on the grids evenly. I don't want to go somewhere in between. So if I'm doing a rise over run, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I rise 13. And then I run, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So in this case, the rise over the run would be 13 over 10. And in this situation, if I could reduce the fraction, I should. So let's talk about rise over run in this situation. This is a horizontal line. So if I'm discussing rise, I'm thinking about how many tick marks or grid lines or whatever you want to think of, how much it goes up. Well, in this case, it doesn't ever rise. So my rise in this case would be 0. My run could technically be anything, because I go on forever in both directions. So for example's sake, I'll say that I run 1 to get to my next point in line. So if I rise 0 and run 1, my slope would be 0. Conversely, we have this one. This line is a vertical line. So if you find your 2 good points, to get from my first point to my second point, I rise 1, but I don't run at all. So my run measurement would be 0. And if you recall from algebra, you're not allowed to divide by 0. So this slope would be an undefined slope. Now, what if we don't have a picture? You can apply the same concept. Your rise, again, is your vertical movement. So if I'm going from -10 to 12, those would be my vertical measurements. Those are my y values. So if I'm going from -10 to 12, those 2 numbers are 22 apart. And since I'm going from negative to positive, they're getting bigger. So I rise positive 22. And then my run, my horizontal movement, which would be my x values, I go from 4 to 6, so I'm going up 2. So if I have 22 over 2, that reduces to 11 over 1, or just 11. Let's do one more example just for extra practice. So if I'm rising over run, first I focus on my rise, which would be my y values. I start at 6 and go to 7, so I am increasing by 1. So I rise 1, and then my run, which would be my x values. I start at 4 and go to 2, go to -2. So that means I'm going down. The distance between 4 and -2, well, 4 and -2 are 6 apart. So it would be 1 over -6, which we just say is the fraction -1/6. Now, go ahead and try the slope problems in your review packet.